The purpose of today's conference is to launch the Local Safeguarding Board's strategy to better protect vulnerable young people in the Borough of Lambeth. My mission as the independent chair of the Lambeth Safeguarding Board is to help bring all the organisations together to make sure that young people at risk are better protected. That can only happen if organisations, both statutory and voluntary, come together, collaborate together and work together.
One of the things that I've always been so impressed with in Lambeth is that we have a thriving third sector of individuals, organisations, charities, even the private sector, who are really, really passionate about Lambeth.
It's hidden. If we're sitting waiting for a child or young person to come and tell us that they're being sexually exploited, we're going to be sitting waiting a very long time. It occasionally happens, but it rarely happens. And actually, it's about us knowing, is there something kind of just not quite right here, and creating opportunities for disclosure, not sitting back and waiting for this to come to us.
It's really quite scary. I don't know what's more scary, what we see on the streets or what we're seeing amongst the services. But if we want to improve the outcomes, that has to change.
Tailor-made intervention is really important because not one size fits all. I think when you're working with a young person's caught up in serious youth violence, gangs or criminal lifestyle choices, it's important that you start with that young person. What are their needs? Where are they coming from? And that can only be done by addressing the person as a whole, looking at their support networks, looking at what has happened in the past, what's been their successes. That's a big question practitioners don't often ask. Who else has worked with a young person? What were the successes? What were the failures?
But what can we do to help restore these broken individuals who are products of their current environment? How do we shape, help and guide them in the transition between broken child, disaffected teenager to a functioning, well-rounded adult?
They don't want to be ostracised from that peer group. That's the last thing that they belong to. So they'll do anything to kind of hold on to it, even if it means putting somebody else down.
Criminal lifestyle choices are so complex. It really requires innovative frontline work with these young people, and there's no quick fixes. This work takes time.
What does a partnership bring? I think what we're dealing with here is really vulnerable young people that have got a lot going on in their lives. It's really complex, and we're all seeing part of that picture, and it's only when we come together that we can see really what is happening to that child, and we all have different skills, I think, to bring to work out what's the intervention that's really going to help them. There is another name somewhere out there that we don't yet know, and they are living a really wretched, traumatised life somewhere in the UK. They have already locked eyes with a police officer or a social worker and wondered if this is the moment that their life will change for the better. And I don't want to miss those opportunities because I've got the strategy wrong, or we haven't given sufficient training to our front line, or they have other pressures on them that I could have solved. That's what I think we have to sort out, and have people sitting in the same spaces, such as today, where you can actually talk about what you do, why you do it, and those shared values about keeping people safe. These problems can't be dealt with by the police alone or health and social care on their own. It really has got to be the community coming forward and helping us, and for us to help support them with some of their initiatives.
Educating them all together and bringing it back to this is about young people, and exactly as I try to say, these young people belong to us, they're part of our community, they're our children. I think it helps to refocus people.
The teachable moment is a really solution-focused approach, rather than just looking at the problem and just focusing on the issues that perhaps the young person's had, talked at them time and time again. It's about finding opportunities. It's about finding opportunities to reach out to those young people, or enabling those young people to reach out to us.
There's a thing that we have called a care seed, and when we plant that care seed into a young person, because the first thing is a young man brings up, because 99.9% of people come to Code 7, young people hear about the music first and come here. Is it true that I can make music for free and my own type? No one's going to tell me what type to make. Is it real? That's their first introduction to Code 7. So that care seed gets planted. So when that youth has offending issues, gang issues, can't walk on the street issues, educational issues, housing issues, domestic violence issues, and he sits with you and he sees you haven't got that skill But you've got a whole network that you've built over the years because of these young people, and they build it and they go to these networks and they come back, and that's Care Seed grows.
Today was about launching the Safeguarding Children Board strategy, but most importantly, I think it was about bringing together all the professionals and agencies working with children and young people in Lambeth to really kind of commit to that strategy, to look at ways of working differently. So in a way it's a kind of call to action, I think, this strategy, because we know there are huge challenges here in the borough. There are lots of assets and resources, and it's about marshalling those resources in agencies, in the community, to better protect and help young people in the borough.